This is going to be a fun video. Today I'm going to talk about the practice of skepticism. We all know how important skepticism is in order to search for the truth, or at least come close to the truth. When someone makes a claim, it's healthy to be skeptical depending on the nature of the claim. For example, if someone makes a claim that President Obama wants to increase troops in Afghanistan so that more money can flow into the United States economy to finance his own personal interests, it's understandable to be skeptical of that claim in order to find out whether or not it's true. Being skeptical of any claim is healthy and it promotes good civil discourse. However, like any mode of thought, whether it's political, religious, or even philosophical, skepticism can quickly form into a form of dogma. When abused, the nature of skepticism can close the mind and make it difficult to evaluate any claim, argument, or idea fairly or objectively. What do I mean by this? What do I mean when I say that the nature of skepticism can form into dogma? Well, before I get into that, I want to establish certain terms to help you understand where I'm coming from. What is skepticism? Basically, skepticism is defined as this. Skepticism is the idea or philosophy that we are denied the possibility of knowledge or rational belief in some sphere. And obviously, a skeptic is someone who is inclined to question or doubt established ideas or claims. And what is dogma? We have to establish that before we get into this video. There are two definitions of dogma, but for the sake of this video, dogma is going to be defined as this. Dogma is the point of view or tenet put forth as authoritative without adequate grounds. Now that we have those terms established, we should begin by explaining the idea of how skepticism can deform into dogma. With the nature of skepticism, its intention is to evaluate claims and to find out the truth of them. We are to evaluate claims, find the truth, evaluate evidence, and based on these evidence, come to a conclusion about its validity. For example, let's say I claim that the mayor of San Diego is extorting funds from the city treasury. You, as a skeptic, would be right in trying to find out if it was true or not. You are agnostic on the position and are not sure either way, and just want to know if the claim is valid. You investigate the claim, gather evidence, and after looking at the evidence, come to the conclusion that the claim is valid. This is a healthy form of skepticism. However, if the skeptic is not careful, his or her skepticism can quickly form into a form of dogma. For example, when someone makes a claim that goes beyond the realm of the natural, such as religious experiences or supernatural experience, many skeptics have the tendency to take their skepticism too far and apply their skepticism in unhealthy and dogmatic ways. Many skeptics would be quick to abuse their way of skepticism to experiences that are obviously subjective and could be in no way known to be proven or disproven to them. The skeptic would be quick to showcase his or her bias towards or against the claim. If you, the skeptic, were to quickly try and disprove this claim, you would be accused of pseudo-skepticism, which can be broken down to the following tendencies. 1. The tendency to deny rather than doubt. Double standards in the application of criticism. The making of judgments without full inquiry. Tendency to discredit rather than investigate. Use of ridicule or ad hominem attacks in line of argument. Pejorative labeling of proponents as promoters, pseudoscientists, or practitioners or pathological science or believers. Presenting insufficient evidence or proof. Assuming criticism requires no burden of proof. Making unsubstantiated counterclaims. Counterclaims based on plausibility rather than empirical evidence, and suggesting that unconvincing evidence is ground for dismissing it. Marcello Truzzi, one of the original founders of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, saw the dangers of this type of skepticism. In 1987, in a Zeltic Scholar article, he talked about the dangers skeptics can get themselves into if they go too far. In that article, while he was talking about the nature of scientific research, the idea he states here could easily apply to any form of research or skepticism. In science, the burden of proof falls on the claimant, and the more extraordinary claim, the heavier is the burden of proof demanded. The true skeptic takes an agnostic position, One says the claim is not proven rather than disproved. He asserts that the claimant has not borne the burden of proof and that science must continue to build its cognitive map of reality while incorporating the extraordinary claim as the new fact. Since the true skeptic does not assert a claim, he has no burden to prove anything. He just goes on using established theories of conventional science as usual. But if a critic asserts that there is evidence for disproof, that he has the negative hypothesis, saying, for instance, that a seemingly psi result was actually due to an artifact, he is making a claim, therefore also bears the burden of proof. With this idea that Truzzi was talking about, we have to remember to keep in mind that the skeptic's job is to find the truth, not to disprove or automatically dismiss a claim because of bias. The skeptic is seeking the truth, not seeking to disprove, seeking to find out validity of a claim. Of course, that doesn't mean we're supposed to take every claim at face value, nor are we to investigate every claim that is obviously absurd and proven out to be false, such as Holocaust denialism, a flat earth, or the idea that Jesus never existed as a historical figure. Whether you believe he was the Son of God or anything, that's irrelevant. However, someone makes a claim, especially if it's a claim about a subjective experience that can't be explained, we should not be quick to dismiss them. For example, let's say someone makes a claim that they have seen and felt a ghost. Understandably, the skeptic is going to raise a red flag. The skeptic might immediately think that the person is delusional, insane, or think some naturalistic explanation is possible. However, let's pretend, for the sake of the argument, that the person who had this encounter with the ghost is a highly educated person, an educated man in his 30s, has a PhD in psychology from a well-respected four-year university, and is considered to be a rational thinking person. The person is 100% convinced that he saw and touched a ghost. Even if you were to try and explain away his claim, it would not ever convince that person what that person saw was real. Even if there was a rational explanation of what that person experienced, that would not change the fact that that person had an unexplainable experience occurred that convinced the experiencer that it was real. Obviously, it would be understandable that a skeptic does not believe the experiencer, but to just simply brush it off automatically just because there wasn't a rational explanation for the experience would be an exercise in dogmatic thinking. By the end of the day, we should instead take the agnostic position of these kind of claims instead of saying that they are not true. In short, while it's true that we should be skeptical and having good critical thinking skills is important, we should not turn this into a form of dogma where we constantly try to disprove something rather than try to understand it. Doing so will cause us to think irrationally and without taking into account the circumstances of a person's claim. We should seek to understand and seek truth, not to automatically disprove or ridicule. There has to be a point where our skepticism needs to be laid to rest and find an answer that comes closest to the truth, no matter what kind of truth it is. Whether it's naturalistic or unnaturalistic, whatever it is. Now, before I end this video, I want to leave with a quote that I found. I don't know who wrote it. It was just a random quote. I don't know who the author is. But I found it very interesting. I think it's relevant for the skeptic to know and to keep in mind. You see, here's the quote. You see, the subjective evaluation of a skeptic holds less weight than the subjective direct observation of the experiencer. What is needed, and sorely missing, is a real understanding of the nature and factors of subjective knowledge. Without this, all such discussions will be foolhardy. The skeptic continually fails to understand and admit that he works on a subjective basis. And he seems mystified when someone accepts someone's direct observation over the skeptic's subjective evaluation. Anyway, I hope this video was informative, and if you are a skeptic, I hope you be careful how you apply your skepticism. Anyway, I hope this, and not allow your skepticism to become a form of dogma. Have an open mind, but don't take it too far. Thank you for watching.